And when you found us, did you believe that you were going to get better, or you were just trying?
Well, the interesting thing is, you know, when I was at the other doctor, you know, I was at St. John's, and those doctors that I started with, they were very negative. Actually, they told me I had a 50-50 chance of it returning after all their treatment. And when I came over to Dr. Beecher, he was so positive, and he said, you know, I wish you'd come here first because you wouldn't have had to do the chemotherapy. And of course, I wished I had too, and he said, well, we'll get rid of it. And I believed him, and it made, the treatment made so much sense to me, because when I was reading about Dr. Beecher's treatment in the Moss reports, it was explaining how it was low-dose radiation and hyperthermia, and it just made sense to me that those two treatments together would kill the cancer cells, and you know that it just, I knew that so I had a good feeling it would work. And then when I met Dr. Beecher, he was so positive that it was just this like enlightening, like I know this is going to work, and I believed it, and it did. And I feel so lucky.
And during the treatment, what do you remember about the treatment? Was it easy to tolerate?
Very easy. I just only wish that I had not wasted 6 months of my time going through chemotherapy, and I'd been here and found Dr. Beecher to begin with, but unfortunately I had no one. I didn't know, I was lost, like so many people are when they're diagnosed with cancer. They're completely lost, and they have nowhere to turn to except for the standard medical treatment, which is chemotherapy, radiation, and operation, you know, surgery. It just, so if I had only known about Dr. Beecher's office, I would have been so much more relieved way sooner, because I had many months of worrying. But as soon as I got over here, it just was a breath of fresh air. The treatment was easy to go through. It was painless. I slept through some of it. I read through some of it. I went to lunch after my treatment. I met friends, and I enjoyed meeting people. I made some nice girlfriends here and went out to lunch, and it was one of the, I was just, the 6 months that I was here went by very quickly.
And but I want to bring up a point. After your chemotherapy, you didn't stop your research. You kept looking and looking until you found us. So my point is, if you don't, you're not in charge of your life, of your health, nobody else will do it, isn't it?
Yes, I know. You aren't. You know, actually, you just, what was that again?
Like you didn't stop with the chemotherapy. You said chemotherapy is not working. Why should I keep listening to this doctor? Maybe there is something else. And you kept looking for natural treatments. And
yes. When I was at the first doctor that diagnosed me, I knew it didn't feel right over there. And these were top doctors. And I felt like, you know, and I was meeting all these women that were in the same situation as I was, or they were back on their, they had a reoccurrence of cancer, and it was deeper into their body than when it started in the breast, and it just felt, I was afraid because of their stories, and you know, it just, so I was very happy to be able to get away from the other place and come to this Valley Cancer Institute, because it was just much more positive and it made so much more sense.
And did you do any special diet during the treatment at the time you were diagnosed first? Did you take care of your diet?
Well, I've always taken care of my diet quite a bit, and you know, am a vegetarian, and I try to stay away from sugar
Mm-hmm.
and different things like that. I kind of believe that sugar might aggravate cancer. I wasn't sure, but I've read here and there that it did. So I stayed away from sugar and some dairy products, and I drank a lot of water, lots of water. That's one of the things Dr. Beecher said to drink when I started over here, and that's what I did, about 2 liters a day. So.
I don't know, I like your dog. Let me do a close-up.
Is he photogenic?
So you had this dog when you were receiving your treatment here 6 years ago?
Yes,
the same one?
actually 8 years ago.
I bet you that you feed him very healthy.
Yes, well, you know, now I cook for my dog, too.
Oh, yeah?
Yes, I don't, after the animal pet food scare that they had with the cat food, I realized how bad dog food is.
Yeah.
And so I make it from scratch. I've made up this recipe, and he's been on it for 3 years now. And he's going on 12 years old.
Oh my goodness, that's fantastic.
Yeah, and I'm planning on him living into his 20s, because I've met other people that have homes that lived into their 20s, and I asked them what kind of food they fed him, and they said table scraps.